Sales is all about service. How can you come from a place of help? It's a very important mindset shift from just thinking about sales as a way to get profit, as a way to just sell a product or service without taking into account the customer's needs, the customer's values. Sales is all about service. Hey mga ka-freelance! Welcome to another episode of the Filipino Freelancer. This channel is all about helping you start and grow your freelancing business so you can have more time and more financial freedom while working with amazing clients and doing work that you love. In this video, pag-uusapan natin ang sales. What sales is not, what sales should be, and how should you approach sales as a freelance business owner. Hopefully at the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of what sales really is, and hopefully you can use those insights to get better and more clients for your freelancing business. So mga ka-freelance, like it or not, as a freelancer, we are in the business of sales. Now, it's just a little bit different from yung traditional sales, which is selling a product or merchandise. In our case, we are selling our services. So in effect, we are salespersons, but instead of selling physical products, we are selling services. We sell strategy, we sell design, we sell concepts, we sell ideas. To be honest, hindi ko akalain that I would be making a video about sales because sales was the farthest thing from my mind back then. I couldn't imagine myself as a salesperson because I lean towards being an introvert, being a shy person. So I could never imagine myself going out and pitching products to people and trying to sell them and trying to get them to buy something from me. But nung start ko yung freelancing business ko, I had to accept that sales was an integral part of my business because without sales, my business wouldn't last. And so sales was something that I had to learn and I had to perform in order to grow my business. So before we dive deep into what sales really is, let's start fresh. Forget everything you think you know about sales. So let's start with what sales is not. Selling is not pitching, presenting, convincing, or manipulation. The goal of sales is to inspire the prospect to make a decision. And we can do this in 3 ways. Number 1, respecting the customer. Number 2, helping the customer think. And number 3, helping the customer make decisions. In the sales process, the customer has the power. The customer represents access to another world. We, the salespersons, are the outsiders. And as outsiders, we need to be more aware. We have to avoid asking the wrong questions and not hearing what the customer has to say. We have to have respect for the other party or respect for the customer. We respect the customer by taking each answer seriously, because unless we take into account the information given by the customer or the prospect, the sales dialogue cannot continue. Number 2, helping the customer think. And this is broken down into 2 parts. Number 1, asking easily answered questions, and full value listening. Easily answered questions appeal to the mind and heart, and always in the customer's interest to answer. Later in this video, I'll give some examples of easily answered questions. Next is full value listening. Full value listening means crediting the customer's answers to your questions with the impact those answers have as information. We must understand the customer and demonstrate that understanding. Every time we show that we grasp a thought or an idea expressed by the customer, the sales dialogue advances. What the customer says counts. Each answer is a necessary step on the way to a logical conclusion. So in other words, full value listening is taking into account everything that the customer says in response to our questions, using that information and showing them that we understand and demonstrating that understanding. Only in that way can our sales dialogue progress logically. Number 3 is to help the customer make decisions. Our sales dialogue should not take the customer's decision as one big yes or no. The approach goes step by step through a series of decisions made by the customer. For those decisions to be made, salesperson and customer need a clear-headed dialogue. Keeping the dialogue clear is our job as the salesperson. If we are doing it right, gradually the customer concludes that we know the customer's business and that we can be trusted to work in the customer's interest. Those conclusions lead to a final conclusion, which is to buy from us because it makes sense to do so. The outcome is the result of the integrity of our process. The end result is progress for the customer. The customer's world moves ahead. Our service creates a brighter day for the customer. And so if you notice so far as a sales concept that I'm explaining, it's all about the customer. It's all about understanding the customer's needs and how our service as a freelancer can best serve that customer. And this can be summarized in 3 words. Don't tell, ask. May nahanap akong acronym of the word sales online and it really resonated with me and I wanted to share it with you guys in this video. So let's break down the word sales. Sales is S for serve, A for ask, L for listen, E, empathize, and S is to summarize. So let's take that one by one, starting with S, service. Sales is all about service. How can you come from a place of help? It's a very important mindset shift from just thinking about sales as a way to get profit, as a way to just sell a product or service without taking into account the customer's needs, the customer's values, the customer's belief systems. Sales is all about service. It's showing up with no expectations, acting in the interests of others, and in the spirit of generosity. Second letter is A, which means ask. Don't give advice, ask questions. Questions are more powerful than answers. And I can speak from experience because previously when I get on sales calls with prospective clients, I'm always tempted to give advice right away. But what I realize is that the prospect doesn't really need advice. What we need to do is to help the prospect or help the client to think. And in order to do that, we need to ask questions. Questions are the magical keys that open the door to the mind of the client. Because as I explained, the customer, they are in control. They have the power. They have access to their world. And in order for us to access that world, we need to ask questions. And this is what I mean by easily answered questions. Some examples of easily answered questions are, what's on your mind? What would be a big win for you? What else would help me understand? Tell me more about. Give me an example of, or would you elaborate on? So if you notice, these questions are easily answered because all this information the customer knows. We are just drawing out the information that we need and helping the client to think. L is for listen. Listen more, talk less. Show the customer affirmations that you are listening. Nod your head or say yes or say right. Listening is a competitive advantage. Take notes and mirror what the client says. E is for empathize. Empathize with the client's problem. Show that you understand the client's pain. Concentrate on the feeling, not on the solution. When a client agrees to get on a call with you, that client is in pain. He's looking for a solution. And so as a freelancer, we should be there to empathize with them and try to understand what they are feeling. For example, it sounds like you're frustrated with the lack of transparency with your last vendor. Can you tell me more about that? And the customer will gladly answer and give more information because we are showing that we empathize and we understand what they are going through. And lastly, S, which means summarize. Summarizing is our opportunity to demonstrate that we understand. You see, it's not enough that we understand. We have to demonstrate that we understand. It's not enough to show the client that we are listening. We have to demonstrate that we are listening. And we can do this by putting everything that we heard, playing it back to the customer, asking and confirming. And naturally, once we summarize, we move on to closing. And in closing, we use the if-then hypothetical close to make it easier for the customer to make a decision. For example, from what I'm hearing, if a vendor could ensure a delivery of a website that increased conversion rate from 2% to 4%, which would increase profit by 400K this year, then you'd consider this a home run. Or if we submit a proposal for 100K by the end of business day, then you're ready to move forward next week. Is that correct? This is how you should move from the hypothetical to the real in a subtle, gentle, and easy way. And that's how the sales process should be. Now, I know this is a very high-level look at the sales concept, but my aim here is to help you understand and help you have that mindset shift from thinking about sales as just selling something for profit, but thinking of sales as a way to serve other people and to help them bring solutions to their business and help move their business forward with your service. And so if meron pa kayong specific questions about the sales process, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I would be happy to answer them and to learn with you as we go through this sales process. Now, sales is just one part of the freelancing equation. If you want to learn more about freelancing, check out the video in the screen right now. Here's to success and growth for your freelancing business, and I'm excited for your journey.